Subtracting negative numbers is tough. You know, I've studied math for many years. I've even taught math for a few years. But subtracting negative numbers, that's always been one of those things that confused me. So I just stopped doing it. And today I'm going to show you a trick so you don't have to subtract negative numbers either. So let's take a look at these subtraction problems. We can see they're all subtraction because they all have the minus sign. But if we look around, we have too many minus signs for me. We got another minus sign. We got a minus sign here. Here we just have infinite minus signs, and the same thing over here. This is too much for me. I'm okay with subtracting two positive numbers, but subtracting any sort of negative numbers, I'm just not going to do. So let's go see how we can change these problems to make them different and easier to solve. So we got LCC. That doesn't really help much. Let's expand it a bit. All right, we got leave, change, change. That's a bit better. Let's see what that actually means. So in our subtraction problems, we have three different parts. We got the first number, a subtraction sign, and the second number. So we're going to leave the first number alone. We'll change the subtraction sign, and we'll change the sign of the second number. Awesome. Leave, change, change. Now let's see how that actually works in practice. We got -5 minus -3. And again, leave, change, change. So we're going to leave this first number alone. We're not going to touch it. We're going to change our subtraction sign to an addition sign. So let's get rid of that and insert our plus sign. Then we're going to change the sign of our last number. So let's make -3 into a +3. And that leaves us with -5 plus +3. Now we do have a video on adding integers if -5 plus +3 seems tricky, but we're also going to solve some of them in about 11 seconds. So if you just like to wait to see how I'll solve them, that's cool too. Now let's look at one more. Here we got -4 minus 2. Again, we're going to leave the -4 alone. We're going to swap out the subtraction sign for an addition sign. And then we have +2, so we'll change that out for a -2. And we're left with -4 plus -2. Cool, let's go back to our blackboard and finally answer some of these. So we're going to look at these 4 problems that we looked at the beginning that we said, no, we're not going to do. So again, we're going to leave this first number, -3. I'm going to take this negative sign and change it into a positive. And then I'm going to take this 5, which is a +5, and change it into a negative. So I'm going to rewrite it. We got -3 plus -5. And then again, we have a video on adding integers, but really quickly, if our add-ins have the same sign, here they're both negative. We got -3 and -5. We're just going to add up the numbers. 3 plus 5 is 8. And since our add-ins have the same sign, which is negative, we're going to keep that sign. So we got -8. Let's go ahead and look at the next one. We got +4. I'm going to leave it alone. I'm going to change this negative sign to positive. Here I got -2. So I'm going to change the -2 to a +2. Look, now we're just adding 2 numbers. Easy enough. 4 plus +2. I can rewrite this. 4 plus 2. I left off the positive sign since we don't normally write it, and we just get 6. So subtracting a negative is the same thing as adding a positive. Easy peasy. All right, let's scroll down and we'll solve the last 2. And here we got a bunch of negative signs. So again, it's the same thing. I'm going to leave this first number alone. I'm going to change this to positive, and I'm also going to change this -8 to +8. I'm going to rewrite it. So -2 plus 8. And now we have 2 different signs. We have a -2 and we have a +8. And when we add those, it works a little bit differently than what it did above. We're actually going to subtract. Now, no, this whole thing's about I don't want to subtract numbers, but we're going to subtract 2 positive numbers. And I'll walk you through this. So I'm going to say, I'll do this, where do I want to do this? I'll just do it right here. 8 minus 2. So I'm going to take 8 minus 2. Now this negative sign doesn't have anything to do with this negative sign. I'm just taking this number and subtracting them. So 8 minus 2 is 6. Now I'm going to go back and look at the problem. Since 8 is bigger than 2 and 8 is positive, then my final answer is also going to be positive. And if this didn't make any sense, first I'll do another one on the other side, this problem number 4, but also we went into more detail in this in the other video on adding integers. So let's take a look at this one. Again, since we're subtracting negatives, we're going to do leave, change, change. I'm going to leave this one alone. I'm going to change that to plus and this to plus as well. So I got -1 plus 7. And again, since our signs are different, we have a negative and we have a positive. I'm actually going to subtract. I'm going to take 7 minus 1, which is also 6, just like the other one. And again, since 7 is bigger than -1, and 7 was positive, our answer is going to be positive as well. Okay, I'm actually going to quickly write one more down here because I don't like the way that both of these kind of worked out. So let me scroll down and I'm going to write one more. I'm going to say -5 minus a -3. All right. And again, I'm going to change, leave, change, change. I'm going to leave this alone. I'm going to change this to positive, or this to plus, and this to +3. I'm going to rewrite this as -5 plus a 3. And I'm doing this one so you see what happens when our negative is bigger. So again, since we have two opposite signs, we'll subtract 5 minus 3 equals 2. And in this problem, our negative number was bigger. 5 is bigger than 3. So I'm going to take this negative sign and attach it to our answer. So our answer is actually -2. Okay, so I hope that wasn't too complicated. Again, we went into more detail in the adding integers video. Go check that out if this didn't make sense. If you have any other questions, leave them down in the comments. Make sure you like and subscribe. It really helps out the channel. I appreciate it, and I will see you all in the next one.